My name is Viktorija. I'm from Vilnius, Lithuania. I'm an architect, preventive care specialist. Today I'm presenting with my colleague, Lori Filbeck, architect, MDS preservation design grad student. She's from Ankarsa. And today we're presenting our internship in National Center for Preservation Technology and Training in Natchitoches, Louisiana. So, National Center for Preservation Technology and Training is a research and education center dedicated to advancing the field of historic preservation throughout the use of science and technology. It is located on a campus of Northwestern State University in Natchitoches, Louisiana, and it is part of the National Park Service National Center for Cultural Resources. It's located in a 100-year-old building that was once the girls' gym for the university back when it was just the Louisiana State Normal School. Next, in this picture you see all of the team for the summer. From left to right, there's Mary Bindes, who is an architect and preservationist from NCPTT. Then it's me and Lori. And two of our NICP cohorts from the National Center for Preservation Education Program, Kim and Sam, who is sitting on either side of Simeon Warren. Simeon manages of the Architecture and Engineering program at NCPTT. Sam was in the same team as me and Lori, and all three of us worked all summer on Putnam Hall Adaptive Reuse Plan. Kim worked on another department and did lab research for her individual internship. Next one. And here you see some pictures of the Natchitoches. It is a cute little historic town in the northwest corner of Louisiana. It was settled in 1740 and is the oldest settlement in Louisiana Purchase. It is located on the Cane River Lake, which was once a meandering river formed from an oxbow of the Red River that was dammed in 1949 when river travel was no longer the mainstream of commerce. So there are some images of the front street and the historic highlights in the hardware store. And here you can see our journey for the summer began. We toured the campus, then we began the research potential user group for the adaptive use project we were assigned to create a program for an abandoned mid-century dorm building, which was like real-life exercise for us Putnam Hall, which was slated for demolition last year, but somehow survived, but is still on the list for demolition. And in the middle photo, we are with Leslie Grusbeck, the department head of the arts department of NCU. She's showing us one of the windowless studios for art students in her department. And on the right section of the slide, we can see some salt research and removal of graffiti experiment that the NCPTT research team built for testing salt movement in mortars. We also had a few other interviews with department heads on NCPTT and NCU facilities managers and a few other people. Next one. So in building, we began with 3D scan that was mostly led by Samuel Nati. We scanned the exterior and one wing of the interior. We were also able to obtain the building's blueprints from the facilities manager. So while the scan was being cleaned up, Sam, we created a 3D model in Revit for our further work. Next one. We also took a few trips to nearby cities. The image in the center is in Melrose Plantation. On the left, you can see our trip with environmental architect Eddie Casio, who specializes in historic preservation and sustainable design With him, we toured the St. Laundry Parish Visitor Center, the Jean-Michel Prout home in Opelousas, which was built in 1770. Eddie is showing us how an antique spike hinge set works in the top right photo. We also toured a couple of his active projects as well as his own home. In the bottom right, he's shown us wall of balayage construction. This is an old French technique using heavy timbers, smaller infill framing covered with the mixture of mud and plaster with Spanish moss for added strength. The goal of these trips were to learn more about sustainable design and adaptive reuse of historic buildings in this particular climate zone.
So once we got into the project, it morphed a little bit into an adaptive reuse plan for really any mid-century campus building. And we used Prudhomme Hall as more of a case study. We modeled our new design and we implemented a different use in each of the 3 wings based on the information that we had gleaned from the real potential building occupants. We created a symbiotic building use with the art department, gallery spaces, technology labs, a co-working area that could double as a FEMA command station for use during nearby disasters. And on the upper floor, we maintained the residential quality of the building with some larger spaces than the students used to use by creating studio apartments and 1-bedroom residences. We expect that these would be used for graduate students, visiting faculty, interns, and researchers. We put our findings into a report for NCPTT to use on their website, and if you'll keep checking back with them, you should see that updated at some point on their website. But it was also for us a leave behind for the presentations that we had done. If you're interested, I invite you to get your phone out and scan the QR code in the bottom right. We implemented several visualization methods, from static renderings, walkthrough videos of the imagined spaces, and even AI-generated images of our lesser developed modeled areas. The top 2 images are 3D plan perspectives, so that you can kind of a top view down of the apartments. And the QR code leads you to an interactive 360-degree panorama of one of the private art studios. We wanted the university to get a really good understanding of what could be done with this building with varying degrees of preservation or rehabilitation. And here we have a walkthrough from the main entry doors through the gallery and lobby space. And the goal here was to create an exhibit space for the art students to show their work, but in an open, flexible way that could be reconfigured. The video goes into the co-working wing here and passing by the coffee shop on the left with a variety of seating options for various group sizes on the right. In this wing, we removed most of the interior partitions with the exception of the restrooms on the left, which we just passed. And then past them, we added reconfigurable glass wall and door system to allow the university to create rentable offices of varying sizes, from the size of the whole team to a single occupant. The terrazzo flooring is continuous under the existing partitions, which is a beautiful floor that can be easily brought back to life. And it showed how the long, dark, double-loaded corridor could easily become an open light-filled space with plenty of elbow room for a new use. What we wanted to convey was that a rehab project like this that had a good exterior condition, the envelope was in good shape, the structure was excellent, and that it could provide a large cost savings over demolition and rebuilding, as well as time savings. We also showed the environmental impact of saving this building and ones like it, and reiterated how much nostalgia is imbued in a building, especially one like this, where there have been 7 decades of students who have once called it home. We also found some time to have fun outside the office. We attended a hot air balloon festival in Bossier, Louisiana, with the other 2 interns that Viktorija introduced earlier. And all 4 of us took a weekend trip to New Orleans, and we saw as many sights as we could squeeze into our 2-day visit, including eating some beignets at the Café du Monde, a tour of the Metairie Cemetery, and a walk through the Garden District, showing the center image there of that tiny little shotgun house, which I thought was so cute. Also in southern Louisiana, we visited Oak Alley Plantation, and we toured the house and grounds, which was once an active sugar plantation, but is now a National Historic Landmark that is dedicated to preserving and interpreting each chapter of the plantation's history. Viktorija and I also did some trips independently as well. For those of you who don't know, Natchitoches is the town where Steel Magnolias was filmed and is the home of meat pie. So if you have never been there, give that a shot. So I did some exploring on my own locally with a pensive walk through the oldest cemetery in the Louisiana Purchase. And I sought out the reconstructed Fort St. Jean-Baptiste Historical Park, the bottom middle image. Just outside of town, I toured 2 sites that make up the Cane River Creole National Historical Park, which includes the Magnolia Plantation on the lower left. I also did some day trips to Vermilionville Village, historic village in Lafayette, and the Waterworks Museum in Shreveport, because like Anita, I am also a history nerd.
For my day trips, it was like a bucket goal list to see the alligators. So I went to Gator Park and had the chance to hold a few. In the last couple weeks of internship, we went to work remote. So I moved to Arizona, where I visited Grand Canyon, Flagstaff, Sedona, and stayed in Phoenix for the rest of the internship. For my last weekend in the US, I visited a former last year IEP intern, Monica, in Chicago. She did internship last year at Fixus Mobilis, where I originally work in Lithuania. Next one. This is us before going remote. We did a pre-final presentation for our NCPTT colleagues. Simeon was nice enough to snap a selfie with us that day, and our work was very well received. We got some good feedback for our final presentation. Next, our final presentation was online. Several guests with the university attended our presentation and some of the NCPTT staff. This presentation was recorded, and once it's made 508 compliant, it will be added to the web pages created by NCPTT. It should be up soon, so if you're interested in seeing what we did for whole summer, more detailed work, be sure to check out NCPTT page. Next, thank you for listening to our presentation. We leave you with this picture of lovely Cane River Queen riverboat with the iconic iron benches in the foreground, which line Front Street in Natchitoches. Thank you.